Welcome to episode 27 of Talking Shirts. I'm Mike from Hull KR Shirts, and today I'm going to take a look at the 2020 away shirt. So the 2020 away shirt is an all-over blue shirt of the colourway navy, and we've got a red breasted band that's quite deep, considering some of the bands that we've seen across our shirts, either home and away. This shirt band does seem to be on the thicker scale. Now, I don't know if the reason why that is so thick is so that we can get the sponsor, Jelf, in a larger font. I obviously understand the needs for working with sponsors on shirts, whether that be obviously the main shirt sponsor across the front, and obviously the sort of the chest sponsors, and what we would traditionally have as the collar sponsors, which have been moved down over time to the upper chest there. So the size of the sponsor could potentially have something to do with the width of that band. However, that is just my opinion. So it was our fourth year with Oxen. Obviously, we've been with them for 17, 18, 19, and then into 20 through Elite Pro Sports. Obviously, it was under the X-Blades branding for 17, 18, 19, and then the switch with the rebrand to Oxen for 2020. So this is the first shirt that Oxen had produced for us, but it was under that same umbrella. The shirt itself, as I say, it's all navy. We've got the red band, and then we've got the red detailing on the cuffs and on the neck. Now, by having a shirt in a dark colour, adding that red just kind of makes it a little bit more vibrant. The red stands out for me working against that blue. I think it's a very, very good colour combination. The sponsors are all in white. And this is something where, again, I keep saying this, but a lot of credit needs to go to the team at Rovers who work with sponsors and who convince them to have their logos appearing in a non-natural colourway for our shirts, because I do feel like the aesthetics of our shirts are much stronger based on the fact that all the sponsors on this shirt are in the same colour. So we've got the Hull College, the AC Enviro, and then we've got the two sleeve sponsors as well, which also appear, like I say, in white. On this one, we had the inverted club crest. Now, you'll remember back in 2020, the home shirt had an inverted crest on it, where the stitching, or in this case, the sublimation, was in red on the home shirt, and obviously it was in white on the away shirt. So the crest, as we know it, appeared differently across the shirt. Now, was that a bit of a hint maybe that we were going to see some sort of change to the crest in the coming times? Obviously, it's been rumoured recently, so that's something for us all to keep our eye on. So we'll flip this round to the side. So we've got the RSV, as I said, up here, and then we had the Bad Rhino appliques applied on the sleeve. Now, this space here is reserved for the Super League itself. And traditionally, if you think back to sort of 2016, we'd have the Kingston press on one side, and then we'd have the Super League patch on the other. Now, most years since then, the Super League hasn't actually given that space into anybody, and clubs at a later date do get that space back to be able to put sponsorship and branding of their own on. Hence why normally these sponsors are applied with an applique opposed to being submulated like the rest of them. So obviously we had Bad Rhino in 2020, 2019 was Heta, 2018 we didn't actually have one. So I think that's really interesting how that space is reserved for something that doesn't always get used, but it's really good that the clubs do get the opportunity to add some very much needed revenue into the clubs and into the sport by using that space. Flip it around to this side. Now, a lot of the shirts have the Betfred Super League submulated into the fabric, again with like the sponsors. Now, with this, the Super League themselves and Sky actually prefer it when there's a patch applied over it. So you'll find that some shirts don't have this on. Now, if a shirt hasn't got a patch on, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's not a match worn shirt, because in 2018, none of the Hull KR shirts had the patches on. But for sort of 2019 and 2020, there is that bit of an inkling that if it hasn't got a patch over the sublimation, that it probably hasn't been worn in a game. But there is other things that you can do to sort of find out that if that is the case. I've got a Joel Tompkins shirt from 2019, one of the away ones, the blue shirt, and that doesn't have all of these patches on. and I was absolutely adamant that it wasn't a match one shirt, purely on the basis of it didn't have one. Now, when I did a little bit of research at the beginning of 2019, Rovers didn't actually have the patches on the shirts, and I found a picture of Joel wearing this shirt playing against Huddersfield. I think in St Helens as well, actually, I think it was 1 in 2 games. So, because something is a certain way doesn't necessarily mean that it appears to be what it is, or that it isn't. So doing that little bit of extra research will help you out and will guide you in the right direction, knowing if something is match one or just play spec. So we'll flip this round to the back. So this shirt is number 19, and it was worn by Will Dagger. So the shirt is has been worn, and it's taken me quite a while to photo match this. The shirt was sourced for me by Steve of Bradford Bulls Match Worn over on Instagram. So make sure you go and check his collection out. He's got some very, very good Bradford Bull shirts for the generic collectors out there. And he sourced this shirt from me. He saw my post saying that I needed a 19, I needed a 41. And he was like, Mike, I'm going to try and help you out. And he delivered. Like a postman, absolutely delivered. And he managed to source this Dagger shirt for me, and we have been able to photo match it. We've had messages back and forth with various different pictures, images, trying to work out the alignment of, you know, the D here, the A with this L, and then the 9 does look slightly higher than the 1. There's been all sorts going on. But we have managed to photo match this shirt to the Wakefield away game. Little shout out to Wakefield Trinity and their official Instagram page for posting a picture of Eddie Batty celebrating a try against Rovers, where Will Dagger just happened to be in the background wearing this shirt. So thank you very much for that, guys. So yeah, over to Will. So Will Dagger, he joined Hull KR in 2018. He's been with the club ever since. He's got a 1-year contract heading into 2021, and he has so much potential to basically, in my opinion, remove this 9 off the shirt, which he's going to be wearing again in 2021, and be our number 1 fullback. I feel like, yes, Adam Quinlan is a very good player. I love Adam when he's on the field. But I think that if we can grow Dagger and nurture his ability and get him into a position where he's playing week in, week out, I believe that his best years on the rugby field are ahead of him. And I really hope that beyond 2021, we do see Will Dagger in a Hull KR shirt. Exactly the same on the back as it was on the front. So we've got the higher base, the Archbishop Centum Academy and the NEC sponsor that all appear in the white colourway rather than their natural colourways. And this adds to the aesthetics based on the fact that the word Dagger and the 1 and 9 are also in a white colourway. It just makes the shirt look so much more sleeker. It gives so much to the aesthetics of the shirt, it all being in that one colour, working off the blue, working off the red. Obviously, you can now say that it's red and white, you know, our natural colourway. There's all sorts going on. And I just feel like that the simplicity of the design speaks volumes of how good this shirt is. A little bit of an interesting fact is that mostly when you have a shirt with a band on, like this one on the front, the replica shirt has a band on the front and a band on the back, like the 2020 home shirt. However, the 2020 away shirt only has a band on the front and it doesn't have one on the back. So some people may argue that the 2020 shirt is more of a replica, the away shirt, sorry, is more of a replica than the home shirt. That then opens up the other argument of, well, it's not really a replica because the player spec shirts are completely different. Well, you could be, you know, we could be talking about this until we're blue in the face. But a lot of the supporters, including myself, don't quite have the build to fit into a player spec shirt. So the club shop replica shirts are much more appealing for those who like to wear their shirts like I do. So yeah, that's been the 2020 away shirt. I hope you've enjoyed this video. We talked a little bit about Will Dagger, talked a little bit about the shirt. The shirt itself is probably one of my favourite shirts. I didn't include it in my top 10 of the decade, which I did over a year ago now. It had just been released, but the more I look at it, I feel like the love I have for the shirt just continues to grow. I know some people like to have an opinion based on results, and yes, we wore this 6 times in the Super League. Yes, we did lose 6 games wearing this shirt. Came incredibly close against St Helens when we took them to Golden Point. But I don't let a success or a failure define a shirt, and I think that's, in my opinion, the best way to look at it, because a shirt isn't designed for failure. A shirt isn't designed for success on the field. It's designed for that success off the field, and with this one, certainly delivered. So that's everything for episode 27. Check back in another couple of weeks' time, and I'll be back with episode 28. Bye for now.